Here we go. Hello, this is a video testimony with Sasha Sabbath and the beautiful Ilsa Greatorex-Duncan with regards to a new course that she just completed called Ignite Your Intuition for Business Owners. Thank you, Ilsa, for your time.
Thank you.
What I want to start off with is you. Could you please tell the audience here a little bit about what you do and what your professional longings are so that we get an idea of your world?
Mm-hmm. So I am a regenerative health practitioner, which means I help people to reverse disease and conditions in the body in natural and non-invasive ways. And so far in my business, it's been pretty, like my previous business experience has been pretty slow moving as far as getting clients in the door. It's been a big pain point for me as far as attracting the people who don't have money or attracting the people who aren't ready to do the work. So I moved into this course because I wanted to expand my energy and really figure out how to start attracting my ideal clients, and having a high priced program that's full. I want to do future retreats out there with ambitious women who are looking to up level their health and vibrancy on all levels. So this is where I'm headed. I'm right in the middle zone right now, and the magic has just started happening. So I'm very excited.
Beautiful, beautiful. So I'll start off with, why do you think that confidently using your intuition is important in your life, personally and professionally?
It's given me, my moments of intuition, like when I've known something in the past, it's been so powerful for me because I have this sense of, it's just knowing where I'm like, okay, it is, and there's no question about that. And that surety has been lacking in basically all other areas of my life. And I've had a lot of head chatter throughout my past that has gotten in my way of being able to tell frequently. As I said, I've had like a few moments, of intuitiveness that were very clear to me. But other than that, it's my mind chatter has gotten in my way where I can't communicate with myself on a level where I can have trust in my actions and trust that they are leading me in the right direction. It's always been a question. And then that leads to more fear within my body, which leads me to wanting to back out of a situation rather than dive in. So when I started working that intuition muscle and using it, figuring out how to connect with it in a way where I did feel confident about it, all of a sudden, beautiful things start happening in my life that weren't before. So I do think that it's really important for many different reasons, but like to be able to have that knowingness where your soul is leading you forward instead of just your mind or like what you should be doing. Sometimes it doesn't even need to make sense, but if you know that that's the right choice for you, like, who knows what could happen, what other beautiful thing it could lead to, because that was just aligned with your energy and being.
Beautiful. And so before this course, what do you feel was happening where, had you had your intuition more at your accessibility, things would have gone differently?
Yeah, there were plenty of situations where I feel like, part of this course has given me that confidence. And that I think, like, especially in the health field, like speaking confidently about what you do is the most important factor. Because that's what people want. They want to feel sure of you. They want to feel confident that you're going to be able to help them. So before this intuition class, I felt like there were many moments where I just questioned everything. I was just like, I don't know, like even like through my own health journey and seeing so many people and knowing that like the work works, because I've seen it work. But at the same time, still questioning like the little things of like, is this the right choice for that person? Or is this like going to lead me where I want to be? And that unsurety, I think, was blocking my success on a huge level as far as energetically, just getting in my own way. And then I feel like people would feel it. They feel that little resistance within myself where they're like, oh, maybe, I'm not quite sure if I'm ready. I would hear that all the time. And now since that course, I mean, maybe this is, going too far for this question right now, but since the
No,
course,
no.
I've experienced the opposite, where like all of a sudden the person who I've been dancing around for 6 months, she literally reached out to me last night and she was like, I'm finally ready. Like, let's talk tomorrow night and we're going to have a session tonight and get her signed up on a protocol. And it's taken me, I mean, like I've been doing the dance with her and that of course helped, but I feel like energetically speaking, it's like opening a door where you're just like, okay, now I'm ready to serve, and they can feel that.
Yes, beautiful. And that actually leads into my next question, which has to do with what kinds of things were you struggling with? In what ways were you struggling in using your intuition before taking the class?
I was just riddled with self-doubt and again, like getting in my own way in my mind of just questioning myself all the time as far as whether or not this was a good action or whether or not like people wanted to hear what I had to say, and like the just insecurities of of I mean not my own capability, but insecurity of like whether or not people want to work with me as a human. Um and I don't know where that comes from. Like there's some deep stuff in there that I've been dredging over for a long time. I went to life coaching school and worked through some of it, but then there was still like this residual self-doubt. And that's been my main obstacle, I think, throughout my life. Um, and I've always been a people pleaser and more concerned about like how they'll feel about something rather than like my own well-being frequently. Which again, with this transformation through connecting with my intuition, it's given me the surety within, and it's like helped me quiet the chatter. Now I can actually get quiet in my head, which is like a first for me. It was always so loud in there. And that just would cloud whatever my body was trying to tell me or whatever my intuition was trying to tell me in the moment, where I wouldn't be able to decipher it from one thing to another and be like, oh, is that my intuition or is that just my brain being weird? Or, like, how do I know if that's the right choice? Or what if this happens? Or what if that happens? There's a lot of cascade of fear thoughts that would happen in my past.
Mm, mm, mm.
And that would lead
Unders-
to sometimes as well.
What was that last part?
That would lead, my fear would lead me to self-sabotage because of the whole not feeling good enough thing. I'd be like, well, what's the point? So I might as well just like live my regular human life because nobody cares. But all jokes aside, like I felt deep self-doubt and like people didn't want to talk to me.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm. You're so observant of where you were. Your awareness is really touching me. Yeah. So now that you've taken the course, what have been your beneficial results from taking Ignite Your Intuition for Business Owners, in addition to what you've already stated?
Yeah, a deep sense of worthiness that I never expected to get from this course. Like I was expecting to be able to intuit on some level, on a better level, and to know like what a sacred yes or sacred no is within my system. Um, but the worthiness was such a pleasant surprise as far as being able to truly feel like I am worth that 5, 10 grand. Like, like I know that I can get you there. I know that I can help you. I know that I can support you in whatever way you need to get where you want to go. And this surety and worthiness has shifted everything for me as far as like my enthusiasm for showing up in the world and in the way that I want to. and also helped me lean away from those self-sabotaging behaviors, because now I know that I can show up in the world the way that I want to. So compromising myself doesn't feel as attractive anymore. It's like, I'm like, ooh, so if I can do this, then like, what else can I do? And what else can I do? And what else can I do? So it gets to be much more exciting. So I'm experiencing more excitement, more pleasure on a day-to-day basis. So much less fear, just in general, in personal and professional life. I have, I mean, energetically, since I've been shifting these things, I have called in more clients over the past 2 weeks than I've had in the past 2 months, which is really awesome. And then every conversation that I've been having with new people, I feel like, I don't know like how to say it, but I feel like the conversations are just landing. Like it feels different than just like the casual conversations I used to have, where I was like walking away from somebody being like, oh, I wish that I had said X, Y, and Z, or like that had gone a little differently, or like, why didn't you say this else? Whereas these conversations, I feel like I'm walking away and like they're lit up and I'm lit up. And it was like a really nice exchange. And we're like excited to see each other again, whether or not that person's my client or like a collaboration or just one person that I just met and will never see again. But I feel like people can feel my energy on a different level. And like even this guy, I ran into this guy out in the world, and he's taken a liking to me, an older man who says that he makes me feel like I'm like the daughter he never had. And it's so funny. He was just noticing me, and he was like, you radiate a certain energy. And he was like, I like see you shining from far away. Like, I don't even know what you're doing, but it's cool. And I was like, well, that's cool, because I've been working on radiating and upticking my energy on all levels. And I'm getting feedback from like random individuals that I'm just passing by, which is really, it's quite neat.
Oh,
Uh,
yes.
yeah.
Mm, 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 mm. And so, in terms of the most outstanding, if you can, exciting manifestation that you experienced during this 6-week core curriculum time frame, what would you say that was as a result of taking this course?
Um, I mean, there were two moments that really stood out to me. One of which was that moment that we spoke of earlier, but it wasn't on this talk, so I'll say it again, which is I was completely broke. I literally had nothing in the bank, and I had some bills to pay that day. And I was like, I don't know where I'm going to get this money. I was like, please, I'm just opening the channels. I'm using my grounding cord. I'm opening the channel and I'm making a certain demand. Like, I need this to happen today. And the money dropped in, and it was just enough. And now I'm working on, I feel like my nervous system has been acclimating to the just enough, where I continue to have just enough, which is great. But now I'm going to push that up a notch. I would like to have more than enough. Uh, but it was interesting too. That happened again for rent this month as well, where last month I had to ask for help, and it made me feel gross. So I was like, I don't like being in this position where I have to ask for help. Like, I haven't been this broke in so long. And like, there was a huge series of events that led me up to this point of financial disaster. But this month I decided to trust. I was like, and there were a few things that I wanted to spend money on for myself personally, where I was like, you know what? I'm going to get my LifeWave patches, and I'm going to get my nutrient dense foods, and I'm going to buy the things for my body that I really want right now. And I'm even going to get myself a lamp for my bedside table, because I've been wanting it for a while, and there's no reason. It's like $20. They'll just buy the lamp. So I decided to trust that the money would show up, and it did. And I had just enough, but I had enough, and I didn't know where it was going to come from. And then all of a sudden, like, more just started coming in, and like all of a sudden there it was, and there it was. And I was like, okay, so this is the work, this is the process, this is like, this is how it can be, like money goes out, money comes in, money goes out, money comes in, which I've always thought and I've always known, but I've never been able to feel it like that or trust it on any level, where it's always been too scary to like let go of that little bit, that you don't know if you're going to get back. Um, and the difference, I think, really is like the deep trust and the energetic trust that you put into that exchange. So that was a cool thing. That was like the two really powerful things that happened for me over the past few weeks that have changed things a lot in my mindset and the way that I energetically am showing up in the world.
Yes, and because you're knowing how to energetically partner with that flow, which comes through one's intuition.
Mm-hmm.
Marvelous, absolutely marvelous. So continuing on the same theme, what really worked for you in the course that you found particularly useful for you? As many things as you can think of, just so the audience has an idea of what we're talking about here.
There was a series of exercises right off the bat as far as learning how to listen to my intuition on different levels, like whether that's like, I always thought of it in a sense of, I mean, the only times that I've had these experiences in the past that were super clear was that knowingness. And then you described that there are other ways that we can intuit things too, as far as like sounds or senses that come up that will tell us yes or no, or like what we should do. So that was a really cool thing to explore, because I felt like, like it was like I was only using one finger on my hand for all of my life. And now I figured out I've got four more, kind of a thing where I'm like, oh, I got a hand that can like grab things and do things. It's a weird analogy, but that's kind of how I felt. And, gosh, it really started clicking with like the yes and no exercise, where I was like getting a pretty consistent sensation in my body when I was asking my intuition something, and all of a sudden, like my yes, it like felt like this swoop up over my head, and like I could see this blue color, and it like I had the sensation in my neck where I was like, oh, so that's like a clear yes, and like it kept the repetition really helped. And then like my clear no, where it's just like this heaviness in my chest, where like certain things would come up, even having conversations with people from my past or that kind of stuff, where like somebody would text me and I'd just be like, oh, actually, no, I'm not going to respond. Like, I don't want like that energy for me right now that's a no. So just don't go there, else. So that was like the beginning of how it happened. And then integrating the use of the visualization of our grounding cord and the channel of energy above the head, calling my soul home. I call my soul home all the time.
Yeah.
For anybody who's watching, it's just like a meditative practice that we go through to bring ourselves present in the body, but also imagine like a ball of energy and light above the head. And that's been so useful for me, like even in intimate experiences, personal experiences where I just want to be listening better or be more present in the moment. I'll call my soul home, and it's made a huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
Alone, I feel like those foundational tools have changed so much, even though they're super simple. And then everything on top of that, just, bonus.
Wonderful, wonderful. Anything else that you can think of that has been particularly useful, powerful, beneficial for you from the course?
The centering, getting in the higher mind exercise, and actually imagining like sweeping out my brain space and then like climbing up into the attic of my brain and then sitting in that comfy chair. That was the first time that I started feeling like I could actually clear my mind, which was so wild to me, because this, again, I've dabbled with meditation throughout my life, and it's always noisy up there. And this exercise with like leading in with the grounding cord and everything, and then doing that, I was like, whoa, I actually am not, like, I had the thought, I was like, whoa, I'm not thinking, but I was still thinking, but I was so wowed by it that I had that thought where I was like, that's so cool. It's quiet up here. And the fear exercise was huge for me too. And it helped me actually break through some resistance barriers, as far as like my intuition kept telling me to do this thing where I was like, go out and introduce yourself to these people and these establishments. And I was like, I don't want to. I'm afraid to just put myself out there on such a big level. But then using the roses and everything and the visualization, I was blown away, like how effective it was, just to like suck the fear out of me. Where I would go from a state of being like, I really don't want to being like, you know what else? Just like go do it. Like it's not that big of a deal. Just like go say hi. And I did, and it was a really pleasant experience. And those connections are starting to grow into other things right now, which is exciting.
Beautiful, beautiful. It's like a kid in a candy store, right?
Right.
So now let's go more in terms of helping the audience understand a few things. So state your experiences as to why you would endorse me for somebody to work with. There are so many people out there who are teaching intuition, and more people are teaching intuition to help business owners use their intuition in business. Why me?
Well, you are a very special lady in my life, but I won't go into the personal side of things, but I really appreciate your energy, and you've always shown up in a way that has made me so curious as to like what you know that I don't know by being such an intuitive being, you know, and by really fine tuning these skills. And there are certain things that you have like throughout the course and stuff, like you've been able to tune in and decipher certain messages that I still like I'm still getting to the point where like I'm working on the communication factor with my intuition, where I'm like, I don't know what that means, you know? But then you would say it in a way where I was like, ooh, I was like, that sparks up my soul, and that lights, that makes perfect sense. And like the way that you led us through certain exercises and you laid it out and you really did your due diligence to clean house, you know, and like keep us on track. Um and to explain like why we're doing what we're doing as we went along too, which for me, I'm that type of person that loves that, as far as like, but why? But why, you know? And you were really good at pulling that all together for me too, as far as like how these tools are going to add up to where we want to be going. And it was a very unique course as far as like the way that you structured things, but it made a lot of sense. Like now that I've moved my way through it, there are so many building blocks there that I think are essential. And again, those visualizations, like I don't know what other people are doing out there, but they're incredibly effective. And like I don't know where you got them, but like it's the work works. And I'll just say that, you know, and you're a delightful woman to work with. So
Thank
I think
you.
I'd be lucky to work with you.
Thank you. Well, where all that came from is I've been doing this for 37 years, and I have put together a toolkit that comes from just good old-fashioned coaching and also my own experience of being a healer and a psychic medium, and things that I've studied from other teachers. And this is just the way it laid itself out when I was deciding to teach a basic course to help people get confident in using their intuition and understanding why bother. You know, that's what you were talking about. Why bother? The why bother opens up an entire new world for people when they
Yeah.
why bother to put aside the time, build up the muscle, have the reflexes, have the habits to,
Hmm.
no matter what it is, find my keys, find a parking spots, help me save this person. You know, all of those kinds of scenarios. One's intuition is the fast track. That is the most effective. It is the least wear and tear emotionally. It saves people time. It saves people money. And it brings so much joy because we are coming home.
Yeah.
We're coming home to the core of who we are as the navigator of our life. And so thank you so much for, you know, what you said as to why me. Uh, the need right now, as I said earlier in our conversation, for people to have access to their real power, which comes from their spiritual connection and their communication with their intuition, is at an all-time premium. Also being able to know the truth of something, because now what's happening all around us in this country and in other countries is a tremendous disinformation, tremendous lies, and only using one's intuition can help a person at least know that something's up. What I just heard, what I just saw, I don't know. That's a good start right there. And then you dial up, you go home, you dial up home, you call your soul home, just like you said. Beautiful. Can you think of any other reasons why me? And this time, think of, maybe interactions with other people in the class, anything that you've observed where you felt, I did a good job, something
Yeah.
like that.
I feel like you, I mean, you use your intuition in a way where you intuitively know where somebody might be getting stuck a little bit, or like you've given people a little special attention at the right moments, and it's never been like anything like, oh, why is she getting special attention other than me? It's just been like I've observed and been, I love that you actually like feel people's energy and kind of pull them out in little ways where it's like, oh, actually, like let's move through this little resistance moment together, kind of a thing. Which I think is so important for any teacher to be able to do, especially in a group space. It can be tricky to do that within a class, but I love that you actually took the time to do that. And it didn't take up like a huge chunk of time. It was just like, let's address this little thing. And it was always worthy and helpful for me as well to hear other people move through their resistance in different ways. And what else? Yeah, I feel like you really, you're endearing in the best of ways. And I like how you make it lighthearted and you crack jokes sometimes. And it was never boring or heavy or like, oh my God, here we go. We got to do this kind of a thing.
Oh, yes, my New Yorker.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm glad you like my humor. Oh, thank you. Well, I think we're on the home stretch, my sweet. The last question is, why would you recommend this course and to whom? What would be going on in their life where, from your standpoint, this course would be the perfect fit, the perfect solution, a perfect option for them? Who
I
would
feel
they
like,
be? Yeah,
yeah,
who would they be? Okay, done.
this course could benefit like a whole bunch of different types of people. But as far as, I mean, what comes to mind for me is my own situation as far as people who are within their business, they've got a foundation laid, but they're struggling to get the momentum that they really want there, and they're not seeing the results that they want with their clients, or they're not seeing the financial abundance that they want in their life, there or abundance in general, whether that's finances or not finances, a personal or professional. If you are in a state of scarcity and you feel like, day to day, it just kind of like feels like a struggle, or like you're hitting a wall and you don't know how to move through that wall or get to your next level. You feel like you're not vibrating at the highest frequency that you could be, or you feel stuck in a scarcity mentality, and that's kind of dragging you down. I feel like this course would be incredibly beneficial for you no matter what, because I mean, as I said before, not only have I experienced wins in my business, energetically, and like it's just happening now, but I also am experiencing more pleasure and joy on a day-to-day basis, just by being within myself and having that deep trust and that knowingness, and that worthiness that I hadn't been able to find before. So anybody who's struggling in those areas and they're not getting what they want to out of life could definitely benefit.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yes, true,
You
true.
have to run consultation
Well, I'm done.
with a woman.
Now this is
Okay.
recorded. What I mean, uh, I mean, if Should I turn off the recording?
If you feel complete, have about 2 minutes.
Okay, because you started to say something about you have to run and something about a woman, and I didn't want to cut you off, but I did. So did you want to finish that sentence?
Oh, that this is one of the this is a woman that I had a networking meeting with the other day, and it was just one of those situations where we had such a lovely talk. We were talking for like an hour, and I was just intuitively listening to her, and it turns out she wants to be my client. So that all I like, my retention rate has gone up so high since I took this course. It's amazing. And I think it really is just presence and letting my fear go and trusting myself. So
Yes.
it's been so powerful. Mhm.
That is the perfect place for us to complete this. So go forth and serve, and may your light just completely shine
Thank
where
you.
all the dark corners might be. Thank you so much for your time. Mwah.
Thank you. Deeply grateful to you. Mwah.
Bye bye.